Imagine a world where everybody is connected. Imagine a world where somebody in Japan can do a transaction with somebody in the United States without high banking fees. Imagine a world no longer ruled by greedy corporate banks. There's going to come a time when we think of central banks in the same way we think about calling an operator to talk to a friend on the phone. This weird, annoying entity that came between us and the things we actually wanted. You aren't going to drown in fees anymore. You aren't going to borrow money from a bank. You aren't going to fight a half a dozen middlemen. It'll just be you and your money anywhere on earth. And once this happens, cryptocurrency could very well make the US dollar obsolete. Once people understand how easy this is and get used to it, the demand for legacy money controlled by a government and bank is going to plummet like a rock. Welcome to the world of cryptocurrency. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Early Morning Crypto Talk. Bitcoin Brandon from Los Angeles, California. Happy New Year, everybody. The very first Crypto Talk of 2022. Wow, this is exciting. Good morning. Go ahead and type in the chat box where you're listening in from. As a disclaimer, I am not a licensed financial advisor to be giving financial advice. I read the news, give my opinion, share suggestion, and it is up to you to make an informed, intelligent decision on which direction that you want to move into. So, saying that, who do we have so far? I see Shelly Hendricks Pearson, Marnita Casa, Faye Harris, Papa John from Iowa. Good morning. Quintel Rodriguez, Happy New Year from Ontario, Canada. All right. Shelly is in Burleson, Texas. Marnita is in Colorado. Prayers out to all of those families in Colorado. They just had that firestorm out there. It's not a good way to start off the new year. What's going on? Daniel from Sweden. Good morning. I need to also make sure I'm streaming this. I'm on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. But I want to put this also on my stories. So let me have that set up. There we go. And another group here. And that one. All right. So, brand new year. Today's going to be a big day. Not only am I doing my early morning crypto talk, but I am doing my live broadcast tonight called The Secrets. The Secrets. So that'll be tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. I only do that once a year. So, and I'm not even going to watch my old ones. I want to go from where I am right now and move forward. And then I'll compare my old ones to this one. You can watch my old ones on YouTube from years ago. Okay, so a brand new year means a new beginning, and also means a brand new year for crypto. So let's first and foremost look at let me share screen. And we're going to look at what's going on in the crypto market. Share. So you should be able to see my screen. Yep, I see it, so we're all good. There, good morning, Dion, I think you're in Philly. Vinny DeRosa from Florida. Deborah from Colorado. Janelle from Colorado. Melissa from UK. Who am I missing? Also, I see Vinny. Tammy Turner. Good morning. Happy New Year. Neil Brooks from Richmond, Virginia. Happy New Year. All right. The crypto market cap is at 2.3 trillion, down 1.1% within the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance is still falling. This is at 38%, but also Ethereum fell to 18.9%, below 19%. Bitcoin is at 47,280. Ethereum is at 3,700. This is a good buying period right here. Binance coins at 500. Solana 174. I'm sorry. Solana is up 0.9%, but down 0.8% the last 24 hours. XRP, everything kind of looks kind of flatline as we begin the year. Avalanche 2.6. We got to really look at this Sunday evening when the Asian markets open up, and Monday morning. We need to take a good look at this. The last 24 hours, Convex Finance is up 13.3%, SafeMoon 11.3%, XDC Network 11.3%, Cosmos 10.5%, Monero 6.9%, Osmosis 6%, Curve.io 4.1%, Harmony 5%, Phantom 2%, Avalanche 2.4%. All right. Worst tokens. Sushi down 9.4%, Uniswap down 5%, Quant 3%, A4, Algorand 4%, Spell Token 3%, Near 4%. So I can already tell my secondary portfolio should be down this morning. Polygon 3%, Axie 4%, Olympus 4%. So we can test that out. We can take a look. What's going on here with our secondary portfolio? Then we're going to look at the metaverse and the meme token portfolio, the DeFi. Oh, I need to refresh. There we go. Okay, yep, down $37 right now. You can see that. Crypto.com coins down 2, CRV's up 5, Sandbox down 3, Solana down 1, Tezos is up 4. I need to increase that one. Polygon is down 4. Live Peer is down 1. Elron is down 2. I'll tell you guys another strategy that I do. Remember, I talked about if you have limited resources, you can't get everything. You can't be in on everything. So when I look at the tokens that I have in my portfolio, do you want to know which ones I put money in to increase it? Whichever one I see that has had the greatest downturn. So, for example, looking at these tokens, the biggest downturn in the last 24 hours was Adventure Gold, Axie Infinity, Algorand, and Polygon. So I would put money, if I'm going to add money, would be in Polygon and Algorand. I'm sorry, not Algorand. Polygon and Axie Infinity is the two that I would put money on if I was going to buy anything today. Okay, which actually I am. Matic. I'm going to do that right now live in front of everybody. This will be my New Year present to myself. Buy. We want to increase Matic. Okay, I'm going to buy 50 Matic. Confirm. Okay, it should pop up. Confirm. 50 Matic. And then I'm going to buy Matic and Axie Infinity. by 1.5. Axie Infinity. Confirm. Submit. All right, it's loading and done. So that's my first thing I do in 2022. My first act is to buy crypto, increase my portfolio. All right, so let's now look at the metaverse one. Let me go to my Makara app. And let's see what it's looking like this morning. Oh, down $233 in the last 24 hours, down 5%. See that? And then our meme token wallet for our DeFi tokens. Where are we at on that one? That one's also down. On the week, it's down 400 on the week for that one. But we can look at these here. We got it up here. Vetter's changed as well. This must be the new layout for the DEX. It is down 6.9% last 24 hours. Saitama didn't change. You see the layout here? Oh, I know why. Because one's Binance and one's Ethereum. Duh. I was trying to rack my head over that. But one is on Uniswap and one is on PancakeSwap. That's why it looks different. Saitama is up to 3.6%. Wakanda is down 1% over the last 24 hours. Bing Bong, which I might have to just write this one off as a dead pump and dump. But I'll keep looking at it to see if there's ever a bounce back. But it's down another 24% in the past hours. It's a complete dump. Green is up 11.2% over the last 24 hours. Yeah, but this one's on Uniswap and it's got the same layout. So that doesn't even matter. Go figure. That's Uniswap. Go figure. Anyways, all good. Now, the news we're going to cover today. Brand new year. 21 predictions. We have to start paying ourselves first instead of paying bills. You got that right. 21 predictions for crypto and beyond in 2022. You might want to have your pen and pad ready. Let's see if we can get started. Daniel says, what does it take? How does it work to mine green? Well, you have to purchase green nodes. So if you want to purchase green nodes, send me a private message, Daniel, and I'll show you where to go to do that. What comes after crypto's biggest year ever? Well, unfortunately, a bear market. There will be another bear market after a huge pump like this. When and how long, I don't know how long it will last. But what are their predictions? 2021 has been the cryptocurrency industry's biggest year ever. So 2 years ago, people were thinking, I missed out. I got in on crypto late. I missed my opportunity to become a crypto millionaire. Well, crypto just had its biggest year yet, and it's not going to be the last. We still have a long way to go because this number, 2.3 trillion, is going to soon say 10 trillion. 10 trillion. So you haven't seen nothing yet. 2021 has been the cryptocurrency industry's biggest year ever. And that's not just because token prices went up, which some did by thousands of percentage points, proving that epic crypto gains are still very much on the table. More importantly, crypto growth this year came in the form of major adoption, integration, and innovation, such as El Salvador's Bitcoin policy and the embrace of NFTs by major brands and mainstream celebrities. So, what happens after the biggest year ever? Probably a not so big year. This past year was unique, above all because the day trading momentum that broke out during 2020 COVID lockdowns was carried forward into real adoption and innovation by the likes of Twitter. And crypto is generally highly cyclical as new converts get overextended and burned, then retreat to lick their wounds and do some learning before they dive back in. 2021 already broke crypto's formerly clockwork boom and bust rhythm, though, so anything is possible. Even if it is less spectacular than 2021, 2022 will see major moves, such as the launch of Ethereum 2.0, finally, and a retreat of NFT mania, probably. And given the maturing of the industry, there will be plenty of capital to fund the continued building of interesting projects and plenty of opportunities to get involved if you're paying attention. There are also major real-world factors that will affect crypto, from US interest rates to inflation to a COVID variants, some more predictable than others. What follows is a mix of my own impressions of what's coming and the usually far superior insights of other crypto observers. None of it is financial advice. Remember that. None of it is financial advice. And most of it is probably wrong. Oh, I'm glad he admits that. I said that the other day. There's a lot of times, I'm not always right. I can be wrong on things. That's why this is a risky space and you want to diversify yourself. You will lose somewhere along the way. But I hope it will help you form your own picture of the road ahead. Who is this? Just the author covering this? By David Morris. He's a CoinDesk Insights, huh? Okay. So I was trying to see who is he? Always thought, watch who you're listening to. Daniel, if you've got 5 nodes, you need to be turning them on every day. One node is doing about 300, 400 tokens a day. Yeah, you're missing out if you're not mining and having those on. The overall token market flattens. Expect at least a period of unstable and essentially flat token markets. I'm increasingly convinced we won't see a 2018 style massive drawdown, but 2021 was such a huge year that a reversion to the mean is likely in strictly mathematical terms. I have a confession. I hope that we have at least another 6 months, if not the year. I would not be upset if this entire year of 2022, Bitcoin itself stays below $100,000 and the entire crypto market cap stays below 3.5 trillion. That's actually what I hope for it to happen. I know some of you, whoa, Brent, no, we wanted to go to the moon. We wanted up at 10 trillion already tomorrow. No. Why? I say it selfishly because I want more time to accumulate while it is low, because it's never going to be this low again. How many of you ever would wish Bitcoin goes back to $600 a coin? $300, $400 a coin. It was there for years. So I hope that we get another year of, actually, I'm looking for a bear market run, because I want to accumulate, and then let the rocket take off. But that's just me. In fairness, I was far too bearish last time around. I thought we'd see a top at around 30,000 back in 2020, but that turned out to be anything but just another cycle. Momentum could very well pick back up, so consider this a projection lightly held. Elon Musk will continue misleading and confusing people new to crypto. I've been saying this. If you've been following me, I said I don't trust Elon Musk. I think he's messing with people here. He's manipulating the market. He's one of the smartest men on the planet, and he knows crypto far better than I do. He knows the math of it and everything. But he's purposely misleading for his own gain. By the end of 2022, once he's caught up to the fact that it's not Nick Szabo, Elon will claim to be Satoshi. Really? You think Elon Musk will claim to be Satoshi Nakamoto despite not getting proof of work? Craig Wright will sue him for defamation, and much hilarity will ensue. Okay, that's funny. NFTs keep tanking. This is interesting. I think the opposite is going to happen. This one's a bit of a layup since many formerly high dollar NFTs are already bleeding, and a lot of those prices were likely manufactured via wash. Okay, so he's talking about independent NFTs. I'm talking about the NFT market as a whole is going to explode, as well as with the metaverse. This is the next big thing. I don't see this as a flavor of the month. Yeah, it's going to go through a cycle. But so did Bitcoin. Bitcoin, you guys know Bitcoin hit $1,000. What year was that? 2014. Let me check something. Let me go back that far. What year was that? 2014. I think it hit 1,000. Came back down and stayed down for 3 years or 2 years. Well, just let me go back. Yeah, that's the 20,000 mark right here. November 2013. Yeah, I was right. November 2013, $1,127. And then, but look at this blip. You can barely register on the radar screen. But back then, this little blip right there was a mountain. It was like this compared to what Bitcoin was before that. Look at this. Before that, $95, $100, June 2013. And then all of a sudden it jumps to $1,000. People lost their freaking minds back in 2013 when that happened. And then it came back down, 500, 600, 500, 400, 300, 200. And it stayed for 3 years. We got to wait till we go back to, it took to 2017 before it came back to 1,000. So 4 years later, 2017, and then we had this mountain here. In December 2020, it got to 20,000. Came back down for how many other years? 2018, 2019, 2020. At the end of 2020, going into 2021, it finally breaks above 20,000 again. 3 years. Now we're getting this big spike here. And if this starts to come back down to a new low, which could be around that $30,000 range right around in here, how long will this stay in this area? A year, 2 years before we see it pop? But experts are saying no, they think it's going to happen by the end of this year. But I just wanted to show you guys the pattern. Each break, look at the distance between this first pop and this pop. They're getting shorter. So when this goes into a bear again, it's not going to be 3 years, maybe a year and a half or a year between cycles. All right. I went off on a tangent there, but it's important that you understand and you know the history of Bitcoin. You know the markets, not just day to day, week to week, or month to month, but know year to year. Put it to your memory so you know you have a frame of reference. When you're reading articles like this, you're not just taking what they say, but you're taking information that you're reading based on your own knowledge, and then you're calculating. Okay. Let's see. He says are already bleeding, and a lot of those prices were likely manufactured via wash trading in the first place, so they have further to fall. I see the market for a profile pick, the celebrity branded NFTs in particular, coming way back down to earth, since a lot of their price action over the last 18 months has been based on the misperception that they're art and will trade like a Basquiat or Van Gogh. Did I say that right? Basquiat. I am not an art guy. They're not, and they won't. For more insight into what actually makes real art valuable as an NFT or in other forms, review my pieces on the art market and generative art. I don't have an opinion on that. NFTs as art, yes, but will they be valuable like art is as a store of value? I don't know. What I'm most excited about at NFTs is on real use cases for them. For example, musicians making music, and they're using it as an NFT for passive income because they own it, they control it. Or um, video games, metaverse is another one that is going to be humongous. Ready Player One type stuff. And Joe, you're right. It's all what's behind the NFT. So I don't fully agree with him on this one. I think we haven't seen nothing yet. Every all of you guys are going to have your own NFTs too. NFTs, tokens, but really NFTs are easier to create. Let's see. Next is Ethereum 2 arrives. It has been planned for years, but Ethereum's transition to proof of stake will finally take a definitive step forward next year as the new POS beacon chain emerges and the current POW chain, with the current POW chain. That implies a degree of risk, and big advantages to the transition may not arrive until 2023, which means 2022 should be accumulation of Ethereum. When the new Ethereum will begin introducing sharding. Probably the most important thing to note is that at least until sharding is implemented, the proof of stake transition is not expected to affect transaction fees on Ethereum. High fees over the past year plus have been substantially responsible for the popularity of other layer one blockchains like Avalanche, and so the Ethereum upgrade shouldn't really disrupt that momentum. Okay. Layer one diversity is real. What does that mean? Ethereum is a layer one token or coin. Why? Because its use case, its programming allows other individuals, businesses, companies to create their own tokens on the layer one's blockchain, on Ethereum's blockchain. And those are called layer twos. Now, because of Ethereum's price or gas fees being so high, other new layer ones have been created to compete with Ethereum by saying we have lower gas fees. That's why if you look at the meme token space, Uniswap is really based with the Ethereum, but PancakeSwap is really popular using the Binance smart chain. So it's why? Because the fees are less. So one of the most genuinely bullish things I've seen this year is a fragmenting of user interest for real, meaningful applications across a number of blockchains. In the NFT sector, for instance, we've seen serious uptake, not just on Solana, but on Tezos and other blockchains. However, as the Bankless team discussed on its 5 Things We Got Right episode, there are good reasons to think that over the longer term, it's more likely that there will be 2 or 3 dominant smart contract chains than, say, 5 or 6. I agree with that. So in layman's terms, what he's saying is think about the late 90s on the internet and the early 2000s. There was a multitude of search engines: Yahoo, Google, AOL. What other ones were out there at that time? I know there was like 10 or 15 of them, and they were all fighting for who was going to be the dominant search engine for the internet. And at the time, Yahoo was king. Remember all the commercials? When was the last time you ever saw a Yahoo commercial? Remember every Yahoo commercial, that whole thing? Yahoo! You know, that was the whole thing about it. Bing, yeah, that's another one, Bing. And then eventually, they all kind of went away. And then you were left with Google, Yahoo. They're still Bing around now. I hate using Bing, but I use Google 100% of the time. Only 2 or 3 main ones left now. All the other ones have fallen away. Now, the same thing is going to happen in the crypto space. You're going to be able to see A lot of these meme tokens fall away, and only a few of them will be left standing. And the trick is trying to figure out which ones will be the next Alibaba, Amazon, Facebook, Twitter type of space tokens that you want to get now while it's cheap, and they survive. And you're still holding on to them after the purge. There's going to be a huge purge in crypto. It's coming. So layer one diversity is real. Oh, I see Joe Pringle. Oh yeah, Netscape. Oh, I hated Netscape. Hey Joe, check it out. I got the book. See that? 12 and a half by Gary Vee. You reading that? Okay, so as the Bankless team discussed on its 5 Things We Got Right episode, there are good reasons to think that over the longer term, it's more likely that there will be 2 or 3 dominant smart contract chains and say 5 or 6. Next year will be an expansion in the diversity of platforms people actually use. But it will be followed by real competition and eventually reconsolidation. The great token decoupling continues. Decoupling here means that various crypto assets will stop simply tracking Bitcoin's price. Instead, each will see returns based on its individual value proposition. Decoupling has been happening slowly for years, but the process really accelerated in 2021. The difference between the highest crypto returns and the lowest was truly dramatic. Layer 1 tokens Solana and Terra returned 8,000% more or more, while aging or flawed projects like EOS and Internet Computer fell more than 80%. The lesson is clear. It's no longer enough to be in crypto. As with any investment, where you put your money really does matter. That is what we've been talking about. You have limited resources. So if someone says, Brandon, if I have $1,000, should I buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin? I can't answer that. I'll tell you what I would do. If I had $1,000, okay, since I already have a long-term strategy of buying a certain amount of Bitcoin every single month anyway, regardless of price, I would probably put $100 on Bitcoin, and then I'm going to put $900 on altcoins. Why? Because the altcoins are going to have a bigger rate of return. How many of you saw my crypto talk yesterday afternoon, where I talked about how $1,000 can change your life? And I actually used examples, not just me running my mouth. Is this still up? Yeah, here's the numbers here. Examples. If you 1 year ago, $1,000 on sand will be worth $166,000 today. $1,000 on Matic, $149,000 today. $1,000 on Phantom, $134,000 today. $1,000 on Solana, $95,000 today. You know what I want to do? I'm going to sidetrack just for 1 second, because here's why. I did get a lot of response yesterday. The same way when I used to do Dream Mode at $10,000. The average American doesn't even have $1,000 in their savings accounts. We're now in the 1st of January, where this is one of the brokest periods of most people, because they've got to pay their bills. They just went through Christmas. They're beginning a brand new year. Tax season is coming up, so people are doing their taxes. They're going to have to be ready to pay taxes. Might be behind on bills because they use bill money to pay for, medical or Christmas and all that. So they're trying to get back on their feet. New Year's resolutions. So people say even $1,000 might be too much. So I'm going to do just 2. I'm going to do Sand and Matic based on $100. So you don't have to go say, well, Brandon, somebody told me, Brandon, you're a multimillionaire, so it's easy for you to be able to, add to your portfolio whenever you feel like it. Said, no, you're missing. I started with $30. $30 is what I started with. So let's go 100. I'm going to do it with 2 coins. Let's go $100. So we're going to pull up sand. We're going to pull up sand. I'm going to go back 1 year. I'm not going to do like I did last night. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I'm only going to do 2 tokens just to give you an example. Like I just bought, I increased today on 2 coins, right? I did $150, 131, 150 on the other. I didn't put 1,000 on it, but I'm steadily adding. It's increasing. So Sandbox 1 year ago was at 0.0368. .0368 was Sandbox a year ago. Yeah, 27,173. I'm sorry, I'm not doing 1,000. I need $100. $100. 0.0368. You would have 2,717 tokens. Let's put that number in there in sand. 2,717. Your $100 would be worth $12,900. And all I have to do is take off a 0 here, so I don't have to do all that math. Right? So I can do more. Let's do Matic, for example. If you did $100, you would have 5,617 tokens. Your $100 will be worth 14,000. 14,000. Let's do Phantom. You take off basically a 0 there. Your $100 will be worth $13,000. 13,000. What about Solana? 1 year ago. Your 100 turns into 9,000. Dogecoin. A year ago. Your 100 is at 4,000. Are you guys getting the picture here? Avalanche. Your 100 will be worth 3,000. So this is why it doesn't matter, and I have to talk with Marnita about this. It really doesn't matter where you start. What matters is your ability to take your education, know where to put your limited resources, and have the discipline on being able to increase it in small increments without ever pulling it out and selling it because you have an emergency and this and that. And you're able to sit on that for 2 to 3 years. That $100 could change your life. So now I'm going to do the math on this. We're going to pick, I want to do this 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's $500. $500. Let me ask you this question. Could you have found a way, knowing what you know now, to get your hand on $500 January 1st, 2021? Could you have found a way? And you put 100 each on these 5 tokens. 1 year later, here's their worth. 12,988, 14,943, 13,434, 9,487, 4,364. Your $500 would have grown to $55,000 in 1 year. 500. If you had $500 sitting in the bank account, $500 sitting in the bank account, how much would it be worth 1 year later? I'll tell you right now, if you had $500 sitting in the bank account January 2021, and we fast forward today, it is not worth $500. It's you still have the 500, but the value of that 500 is less. Why? Because the purchasing power of that $500 is now going to is cost a lot more. Gas is higher, groceries are higher, bills are higher. So you're not able to get the same amount for the same $500. Oh, Brendan, I got a 0.5% increase in my interest. I made money. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Like Robert Kiyosaki says, you keep money in the bank, you're losing money. Or now that we're in crypto, if you are holding cash, you're losing. I just typed in the chat box the link to that. Since I'm broadcasting on 3 different ones, I don't know if it went to Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. But I just typed it in the chat box, so let me know if you see it. And Joe's right. Hyperinflation is not over. We haven't seen anything yet. It's still going to be going on for a little while. Okay, and so $100. Now that I see this, I should have did the reverse yesterday. I should have started at 100, show these numbers, and then do it at 1,000, show these numbers, and then do it at 10,000 for the big boys out there. I might do this again in maybe a couple of days. I'll call it how $1,000 can change your life, part 3. How about that? All right. So going back to this article, this is why, what if you put $500 on Bitcoin though? You wouldn't have that much return. Your 500 would probably be worth $2,000, $3,000 maybe. I don't know, somewhere around there. Okay, so let's go back to this one. For more on decoupling, see this year's edition of Masari's Crypto Thesis, an annual must-read and a great way to get caught up on the year's many transformative moments. Oh, that sounds like something I want to read. Let me take a quick look at this. Crypto Thesis for 2022. Key trends, people, companies, and projects to watch across the crypto landscape with predictions for 2022. Really? Oh, hold on. 2021 year in review. Oh, I got to register for all this. I think I will. I think I'm curious. I want to know what he's talking about on this. The Masari report. I've seen this before. I've never. All right, let me hold that for later reading. Okay. Bitcoin's mining big sort. Bitcoin mining's big sort. Arcane Research predicts that we'll see more Bitcoin mining bans next year in countries with weak grids or low energy supplies. Yeah, I see that. Also, it posted it on YouTube, but it didn't post on Facebook. Okay, so if I know I can do it this way. To post it on Facebook, you guys can see. I wonder why it does that. So YouTube takes priority on the StreamYard. Okay, here's my crypto talk. All right. I wonder why it does that. So right here, YouTube takes priority on the StreamYard. Okay. All right, so you guys should see it there too on Facebook. So Bitcoin's mining's big sort. Countries are going to ban it. Low energy grid, while other energy-rich jurisdictions will embrace the industry. It's sad that countries and their citizens will see restrictions on their involvement in Bitcoin, both for their own sakes and because more distributed mining is better for the network itself. But in the medium term, there are upsides here. The banning of mining in countries without sufficiently robust or sustainable electric grids should push more hash power toward cleaner energy, potentially blunting some of the one-sided environmental, social, and governance criticism that blew into the mainstream this year, largely thanks to Tesla's Elon Musk. Stocks keep going up, but more slowly. Goldman Sachs predicts a 9% rise in the S&P 500 index. That's not as much as this year, when the index went up 27%, but it would still be very healthy. On present fundamentals, it's a defensible bet. The latest unemployment report, for instance, came in under projections, and consumer demand remains high many months after the pandemic. Stimulus payments have ended. Unemployment? Yep. So stocks keep going up. The lingering question is whether stocks have much room to run given how overextended price to earnings ratios already are. Tech and growth stocks like Tesla have been rocky in recent months, for instance, leading Cathie Wood's ARK Innovation Fund down a sobering 20%. And CNBC's recent millionaire survey finds that rich investors are losing their appetite for risk, which could let even more air out of the tires. All right, we mentioned Elon Musk earlier and his ability to manipulate the market. Elon Musk at one point in his career was on the verge of complete failure and bankruptcy and ended up turning his company around to be about $1 trillion enterprise. So that tells me if you can psychoanalyze an individual and you can kind of predict their habits and what they're willing to do. With Tesla, if Tesla still starts going back into having some financial issues and problems, rich people always know one thing: use other people's money to fund your stuff. And the best way he can fund what if you were to forecast the future, where do you see Elon Musk? Where does he want to go? You know, he's thinking much bigger than Tesla cars. We see he's got his focus on space. We see he's going to want to do stuff on the moon. He's going to want to do stuff on Mars. He's going to want to be the first private company to do that, to be the billionaire to do that. So, in my opinion, this is my opinion. I've never met the man. You know, I've never had a conversation with him. He doesn't even know I exist. But by following his patterns, I can make a prediction. I believe he will use one way or another crypto as a way to fund and push all of his space endeavors, whether by hook or crook. What do I mean by that? Hook is like using metaverse type stuff. Crook, by manipulating altcoins, by taking a coin like he did with Doge, or Shiba Inu, or putting a brand of some token on the side of his ship, you know, and he's going to use that, and people's going to, because Elon's doing it, everyone's going to want to throw money at it, which isn't a bad thing. You know, it's a smart thing to do. All I'm saying is, this is my prediction. We'll see if I'm right in the next 2 years, because did you guys see what NASA just announced? They plan to have a man walking on the moon again by 2024. They plan to have a man circling the moon for the first time again by 2023. And by the end of this year, they plan on having an unmanned spaceship launching and going around the moon by the end of this year. So we've got a 2-year game plan for new moon missions. Now, what do you think NASA is going to do? Why do we stop going to the moon in the first place? I want to leave the conspiracy theories out. All right? Because I will keep my mouth shut on that. The official reason is cost. The official reason is cost. So if NASA or the government wants to reduce cost or be able to pay for it, they could raise all of our taxes, or they can use and take advantage of private industry. So if you're Elon Musk, you're Richard Branson, you're what's the guy's name of Amazon? Oh, good grief! It's one of the richest men in the world. You guys can let me know. If you're any one of those three guys, You know what money you want? You're not looking at money from people. You're not looking at us paying because we ain't Jeff Bezos. Thank you, Marnita. Jeff Bezos. You're not looking at us because the average person ain't got $1 million or $5 million or $10 million to go to space. You're looking at government contracts. You want government contracts. So this whole race to space stuff is not because rich people can afford to get there. They want to prove to NASA and the government that they can do it. And then government has almost unlimited income. And then they throw Elon Musk, we're going to give you a $50 billion contract for our spaceships to go to the moon. We're going to give you a $500 billion contract to do the Mars stuff. You know, I'm just speaking out loud here. This is how billionaires are thinking. And then the billionaires go, well, what technology are we going to use to make all this happen? Blockchain. How would you like to be able to earn a virtual seat to Mars through the form of an NFT? Who wants to go to Mars with Elon Musk? But you can do it virtually. You can put on the Oculus headset and you're in the spaceship. You got, I'm telling you, we haven't seen nothing yet. We haven't seen nothing. When Elon Musk sent his ship to space, remember he had his Tesla car on the spaceship and they had all the cameras all around the spaceship to see it. And you were able to they live streamed it and you see the spaceship and the car in space. Remember that? Joseph, that's what Ford did to get to U.S. or milk. That's right. We haven't seen that. What an exciting time to be alive. I actually wish I was 20 years younger than I am right now. I wish I was my oldest son's age. But knowing what I know and having the same experiences I've had, because his generation, they didn't experience life before the internet. They don't know. They can't appreciate life the way we can. Generation X and older. Generation X baby boomers, and we're losing the greatest generation. Betty White just passed away, almost 100 years old. My grandmother passed away 98 years old a year and a half ago. My other grandmother was 93. So we are that generation. The World War II generation is passing, and the baby boomers are now the elders. Isn't that? Can you imagine the greatest generation? Them realizing one day that their children are going to take over the world, and the hippies of the 60s. And they're like, oh my gosh, the world is going to come to an end if these hippies take over the world. Well, guess what? They take over the world today. Some might say the world is going crazy. The baby boomers are running things. But soon it's going to be the Gen X. And Gen X will be the last generation on planet Earth to know what life is like before the world was fully connected. I remember in history reading about the last generation before there were airplanes, before the new modern world. My generation is the last generation that knows life before this technology. But we're still young enough to see, God willing, at least the next 30, 40 years on progress. But my son, can you imagine progress over the next 60 years? Whoo, exciting times. All right, I went way off on a tangent there. What I am doing, I'm giving you insight because I'm going to be creating a multi-million-dollar investment firm. And you can kind of see where I'm going to be putting my money. Okay. The lingering question is whether... No, that the Fed gets tight. The U.S. Federal Reserve will be shrinking its bond buying program starting in January and is also expected to raise interest rates in 2022 that will have complicated and frankly uncertain impacts for crypto. In theory, it should help tamp down inflation, but could also put downward pressure on speculative investments that have attracted some of the loose money of recent years. I hope so. I hope so. Do it. In other words, here's what in layman's terms, here's what they mean. They're going to put measures in place that's going to slow down inflation, which the cost of buying goods and services will start to flatline itself, and people can get used to that again. People aren't going to be so scared, so they're not going to either put their money in crypto or gold or precious metals. They're confident to be in the market again and spending. So if that happens, then crypto is going to slow down. It's going to slow down because people aren't flooding their money in. And that's what I want to happen. I actually want that to happen because we want more time to accumulate. It's inevitable that it's going to do this. It's inevitable. It's just a matter of when. So keep in mind, though, that at least in conventional economic terms, this is good news. Near zero interest rates only benefit people selling low quality, high risk investments. A rise of a point or even two would mean that we have room to move downward next time there's a recession, providing a big advantage for U.S. long-term stability. Bitcoin's inflation narrative is tested. As I've written recently, Bitcoin didn't respond to rising inflation the way it should have, according to the inflation hedge thesis laid out by many advocates. In layman's terms, we all knew inflation was coming, but the experts expected it to force Bitcoin to go to $100,000 by the end of 2021. That didn't happen. So as I argued, because adoption hasn't reached a point where the underlying price is stable enough. But if inflation continues or accelerates, even just for the first half of the year, Bitcoin will need to show a market response for the narrative to remain credible in the medium term. Here's another example of what he means, layman's terms. The billionaires and millionaires understand this, and they went from having a 1% portfolio into crypto into a 5 to 10% portfolio into crypto. Because one thing that millionaires and billionaires don't like is they don't like losing value of their money, because they know that their money is a resource, their money is energy, their money is a tool, it's their employees, and they don't want to lose their employees. So they put their money in safe havens. It takes a longer for the little guy to realize what's happening, what's going on. So there's not enough of that money moving into the crypto space. That's why I said it's a medium term. But follow what the billionaires do. If you've got $50 million cash, do you want that sitting in a savings account, or would you put it in something that's going to either maintain or increase in value, especially if you're not spending it? See, one thing I learned as I started to make more money and I started talking to people that have real money, a billionaire does not have $1 billion sitting in the bank. They may have a 5 to 10%, if not less, of their wealth in physical cash. A billionaire might have anywhere between $50 million to $100 million in a bank account somewhere, because that's enough money to pay their bills, their expenses, their properties, to buy toys. And once they've done that, then they'll put another $100 million in cash to do whatever they need to do. But they don't have $5 billion sitting in a bank. All right, that's a whole nother talk. That's my what is money talk. Okay. Tungsten cubes collapse. Watch for secondhand cubes on eBay, but keep an eye on those shipping costs. Maybe I'm ignorant. I don't know what tungsten cubes are. You guys ever heard of that one? Tungsten cubes. Meme coins wipe out. I partially agree with this, because the new flavor of the month is now NFTs for 2022. Not all meme coins are going to wipe out, though. This is why you got to be careful. Meme coins are basically a casino, but they enjoy positive feedback loops because winners draw major public interest that keeps the winds rolling. Conversely, a downward or sideways cycle can be exceptionally brutal. 2022 will see less ape-like behavior among crypto newcomers and a consolidation around informed investment. Somewhat. That means coins like Doge will continue losing steam. It peaked all the way back in May, and new pumps have limited upside. I agree with that. Shiba Inu is an interesting exception here and a possible demonstration of how to turn a meme into a real project. Its Shiba Swap DEX is at least on its face fairly interesting, though I can't say for sure whether it would elevate the project out of a meme coin status, even if it succeeds. I shared with Marnita yesterday one of my strategies when I'm dealing with not necessarily my secondary portfolio, but my meme coin portfolio and how I'm moving in that. And I don't share that publicly because I don't want people to do the same thing. And if it doesn't work for them, they blame me. I only share that if I do consultations. I did a private consultation yesterday as well, where I shared information. So anybody that wants that, you gotta set up and pay for a private consultation with me, and I will share my strategy on what I'm doing with my meme coins and how I'm looking at it to the future. But I am not a licensed financial advisor, so I'm careful because we're talking about a lot of these are in the DeFi space. And I'm careful what I say because people will do it. And then if something doesn't work out, then they turn around. Brandon said, no, I didn't. I shared what I was going to be doing. But anyways, if you want that type of information, you gotta pay for it. You gotta send me pay for 30 minutes or an hour time with me, and I'll show you what I'm doing with that. All right, that means coins like Doge, yeah, Dex, yeah, okay. This is what nerd talk. I despise some crypto nerd talk, like hodlers. Do you know why it's called hodlers and not holders in the first place? Because some clown nerd was so excited he mistyped. He did a keyboard error, and instead of typing holders, he typed out hodler. And the other nerds in the community grabbed their heads around it. They thought it was hilarious, and they've been running with it ever since. And now I'm seeing something new here. Instead of builders, bidlers. Yeah, it is cute and all that, but that's just not me. So I'm going to always say it the way it's supposed to be. The builders keep building. Believe it or not, and I do have a video in our crypto education about terms in the crypto space that you want to be familiar with. The nerd talk, the nerd language. So that once you're familiar with that and you go to a Bitcoin expo, blockchain expo, you're listening to nerds talk on TV, you actually know what they're saying. You know what they mean when they say certain words. So the annoying shillers fall away. You guys understand what shillers are, what shilling means? You know, shillers is basically individuals who don't actually own the project, but they own the assets of a project, and they're running around on social media platforms and they're pumping a project up. Now, why would they pump a project up? Because the more that project gets noticed and more people buy it, the more value of the asset you hold rises. Do you know who one of the first big shillers of the crypto industry were? The biggest name? The Winklevoss Twins. Have you heard of the Winklevoss Twins? You might have remembered them from the Facebook story. The real founders of Facebook, or the disputed, but the people behind Facebook with Mark Zuckerberg. And they sued Mark Zuckerberg and won. They won some money. They were running around wearing Bitcoin t-shirts back in 2012. Okay? Did they create it? No. Do they control it? No. Were they paid to do so? No. But why were they doing it? Why were they talking about Bitcoin? Because they spent $11 million on it. That's why. And by spending $11 million, they knew that one day that $11 million might be worth billions. So we need to get the word out about it. So, anyways, shillers fall away, and the engineers and others who are actually creating things have time to focus on the task at hand. Projects I'm excited about in the next build phase include Airweave. You might want to write that one down. Airweave, an innovative distributed storage system, sign in with Ethereum, which is pretty much what it sounds like, and whatever Jack Dorsey has planned at Block, formerly Square. Rough waters for old hands. Really? The ascendance of Avalanche, Terra, Solana, and Polkadot this year spells the end of real momentum for many projects that have been around for a while. They promised big things for years, but underperformed both technologically and in the markets during the biggest year in crypto so far. A partial list of projects I'd put in this category includes Litecoin, IOTA, Cardano, EOS, and Hedera. I have all of these coins in my main portfolio, and I'm going to start to need to rethink this because he's right. The only one in this group that I'm still excited about, really excited about, is Cardano. Litecoin is a duplicate of Bitcoin, but better. But because nobody really knows about it, Bitcoin will always be the granddaddy of them. But Litecoin is essentially the same thing. It's a better token to use. But that's not what people go by. People go by emotions, right? Name brand stuff. And I remember as a kid, I wanted these brand new Jordans that came out. All my kids at school were talking about it. And my parents get me some I don't remember what they were called, but it wasn't even Converse or nothing. It was some cheap shoes, but they worked. That's because that's all my parents could afford at the time. And my dad was like, boy, they work, put them on. And I'm like, but they're not Jordans. He said, yeah, but these will last longer than your Jordans, which was true. However, I wanted the name brand. I didn't care about functionality. So same thing in crypto. That's why Litecoin has never really, but I'm big on, maybe I got to write that down in 2022, reevaluate main portfolio. Wow, it's cool to write this down. January, first notes for January 1st, 1/1/2022. Reevaluate main portfolio. Okay. So USD inflation will peak. It may even retreat by the end of next year. This year, cinema is a huge factor in inflation because it guides forward-looking price and salary setting. Inflation seems likely to continue into early 2022, for instance. Food manufacturers have already announced price increases that will go into effect in January, but there's reason to expect cooling in the back half of the year. The death of President Biden's Build Back Better is important symbolically for business sector sentiment and planning for inflation. Whatever your feelings about the bill itself, its potential benefits to Americans, or the scale of its actual potential impact on the money supply. Further, early signs from South Africa are that the Omicron wave of COVID-19 will be relatively brief, mostly because it's so infectious. That could mean a lot of the pressures driving U.S. inflation over the past 6 months could start letting up by June or July. That includes supply bottlenecks caused by a lack of farm workers and manufacturing shutdowns in China, and the unprecedented surge in durable goods demand, which should taper off as people continue returning to some semblance of normal life. Also remember that whatever the larger COVID picture looks like, summer will likely be a very low period, which should put at least temporary downward pressure on the goods consumption that has made up much of inflation. DAOs will attract serious regulatory attention. But in an abstract theoretical way, we might not see actual rules or enforcement unless someone uses a decentralized autonomous organization to do something truly insane. There's a lot of talk about how DAOs are the new corporation. And governments tend to regulate those. This is also where the rubber hits the road for decentralization. There will be some truly decentralized organizations that will be able to one degree or another ignore regulation. Those faking it will get smacked down. That is true. Stable coins get regulated. This one makes me nervous because this has the potential to really mess up the markets, not kill it, but mess it up. Like Tether. Tether to me is the crypto nuclear bomb waiting to happen. If these guys behind these stable coins are faking it, and they really don't have the liquidity that they say they do. And so you guys know what a stable coin is, like Tether, is they say one Tether is equal to $1 regardless of momentum or volatility. It will always be 1-to-1. So major people in crypto, everybody for that matter, they use stable coins to kind of regulate their trades. You know, they play I call it the Tether game. And there's billions and billions sitting there. But what happens if everybody at the same time does a call on their Tether? Everybody at the same time decides to sell all their Tether. Does Tether have the money to back that up? It's like a run on the bank. If every single American ran on the bank right now to pull all their money out, there's not enough physical cash to go around. The stock markets will crash. The banks will shut their doors. I mean, this is Christmas time. You guys watch that movie, It's a Wonderful Life. One of my most favorite movies of all time. George Bailey and the Bailey Savings and Loan. That was my first taste as a kid to figuring out how the banking system worked. And I remember my grandpa trying to break it down to me because I didn't understand. I'm like, wait a minute, if there's a run on the bank, why can't he give everybody their money back if they put their money in the bank? And just like in the movie says, well, Bob, your money is in Joe's house. Joe, your money is in Susie's bakery. Because banks, when you give them your money, they take your money and invest it. And then they split the profits with you on those investments. The goal is not for you to pull it out tomorrow. The savings and loan. I didn't understand how all that stuff, well, that was my first introduction to how that stuff worked. But when everybody runs and wants to pull their money out at the same time, there's no money to pull out. And that's what's going to happen with the banks if everybody runs on the bank. The government already has a solution to this. Their solution to it is cashless society. They're going to introduce something called the Fed coin. And everything will be digital. So you don't actually need to have the physical cash. All they have to do is do numbers on your back in your account. And they think that that's problem solved. Short term, it will be. But it's also you're giving up control. Because now the government can always, at any given time, we're shutting down your account. See, if you've got physical cash, the government can shut down your bank account. You still got the cash, but you can spend anywhere. But if we go to a complete cashless digital society, your autonomy is gone. And that's why crypto is still going to be good. Because with crypto, we control our cash. We control our resources, not the government. The government can't shut down my crypto wallets unless I give them the keys to it. You guys understanding this? All right, so stable coins are going to get regulated. To me, that sounds like a formula for upward pressure on crypto asset prices. for better or worse. Stablecoins will become increasingly regulated, only allowed to hold nominally risk-free assets if they want to connect to regulated legal institutions. This includes cash and treasuries, such as stablecoins. As such, stablecoins are a way to monetize treasuries. In other words, if stablecoins are backed in part by treasuries, and the stablecoin market cap continues to grow, this is a new source of demand for U.S. government debt. So the government will want to be used as a stablecoin. That's what they want, ultimately. Cash and treasuries of various durations get mixed together in a basket, blurring the line between them. More nations adopt Bitcoin. This is going to happen. Immediately after El Salvador announced its new Bitcoin policy, reports came in that other countries, mostly in South America, were considering similar moves. They just got a strong nudge from the Bank of England, which on December 21st was given the go-ahead to essentially seize nearly $2 billion of Venezuela's gold reserves. Instead, it may hand the gold over to Juan Guaido, a Venezuelan opposition leader beloved by Western intelligence agencies. That's interesting. This sends a clear message to any country that dares push back against neoliberal hegemony. Not your bank, not your gold. Bitcoin presents a clearly appealing alternative to that threat. I agree. Turkey descends into chaos. President Erdogan's long campaign for total power ends where these things usually do, with an unchecked autocrat. If you guys, do I want to do this? I'll walk on eggshells on this one. If you are a student of history, and I have a degree in political science, and you understand democracies, authoritarianism, dictatorships, communism, all the different governments of the world, and you read about leaders in history, and you wonder, how in the world did this person either be like this or was allowed to do this? One of the most dangerous things is an autocrat. And when you study past autocrats in their rise to power, their goal was not, I want to become a dictator or an autocrat. They believed that what they were doing, while though in their own best interest, was also the best interest of whatever nation they were leading at the time. And they believed what they were doing was the way they wanted things to be done was right. And anything that was a challenge to that becomes the enemy, because they believe, I am doing this right for my nation, and we need to eliminate anything that's going to impede our progress for the betterment of all of us. So opposing ideas and thoughts and ways isn't just a difference of opinion. It becomes the enemy of the state and needs to be snuffed out, which is why autocrats hate the media, or they want to control the flow of information by controlling the media. So if you ever want to see the beginnings of an individual with an autocratic thought, it is an individual who can never entertain the opinions of others that's different from their own, and can never allow a media to challenge them in their opinion, because to challenge me, you're challenging what is right, and you're challenging what I'm trying to do to help out the people and the country. So you must be eliminated. I'm walking a fine line, and the people who support that autocrat, they see the things that he or she may be doing, and no, this not. We wouldn't want our opposing person to be doing this, but because they're on our side, because they are pushing what we want to happen, we will support and allow this autocrat to do autocratic things, even though it's against democracy. That's as far as I'm going to go. Right? And I say this from a position of education, not from which side I believe is right or wrong. I'm saying this from an outsider, from an educated individual who knows history, knows governments, and knows how things go. If the autocrat is on your side, oh, you're for him. Go for it. Go for it. And then the moment if that autocrat gets taken out by a opposition who does exactly what the autocrat you supported, then you're going to start screaming bloody murder. No, 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 no. No, that's not democracy. But wait a minute. You supported all that crap when it was your guy. You ever wanted to know how nations fall? The biggest nations in the world always fall from within because they no longer see enemies out there. They see enemies from within. All right, let me continue this. I'm going to start off 2022 good. 2021, I did not do not one single political or religious post that could be controversial. I kept my mouth shut. That wasn't the case in 2020. I was very vocal in 2020, but I was angry in 2020. 2022, I'm going to keep things going just like 2021. So it's all good. Hey, you got a safe zone with me. Don't worry. Even if we don't believe the same, it's all good. The pandemic ends. I don't know. I want it to. Okay. Dang it, Brandon. I want to get to this. I will only say this, and I'm going to give a disclaimer. My statement does not reflect whether I am for or against anything. I'm going to speak factually. What I say is no form or way of me endorsing anything, okay? So keep your panties on. Here is a fact of how this pandemic will end. It will end the same way every other pandemic before it has ended. When the majority of the population develops an immunity or a fighting response to the virus. Okay, I'm using my political language here to walk again on eggshells because people are crazy on both sides of this. But this is a scientific fact. The problem in America and the world is that people can no longer even agree on the foundation of what is fact and what is belief. Fact and belief is not the same thing. Just because you believe something does not make it factual. It just means you believe it. You've accepted that belief into your universe, and for you, that's reality. There's an old saying, and I'm doing late night crypto talk, or I'm doing the secret talk tonight. When the mind is right, facts don't matter. You create your own facts. That's another sign of the decline of an empire. When the people cannot even agree on what is facts, you no longer have a baseline to build from so that you can have arguments onto. To half the nation, they see a 6. To the other half, they see a 9. So you want this pandemic to end. You need to scientifically have a vast majority of the people need to have immunity to it. I'm watching myself while saying, how do you get that immunity? I'm going to leave that up to you to figure it out. But there's a reason why babies, and we're not allowed to attend elementary school unless we've done certain things. Because if you're not inoculated, then the virus can mutate. And if you have a large segment of the population that continues to allow this thing to keep mutating and mutating and mutating and mutating, it never goes away. So this Omicron is an example of a mutation that took place because the original version wasn't stamped out. How am I doing on this walking this fine line without offending everybody? All right. But just scientifically and factually, that is the only way the pandemic is going to end. And I don't see that happening, or I don't see a consensus taking place anytime soon. Man, I just did some mental gymnastics right there. I did some mental gymnastics, but I'm just trying to be careful with what I say because people go apeshit over this. In this year-end blog post, Bill Gates projected that we'll see an effective end of the COVID-19 pandemic next year. Okay. First of all, why in the hell are you talking to Bill Gates about pandemic and scientific stuff? I'm sorry, is he a licensed scientist? Is that where he got his degree from? I thought he was a software guy. Okay, let me leave that alone. But he's predicting this? I mean, I'm not going to go into the conspiracy theories here. While Gates' emphasis is on vaccines, it seems much more likely right now that the hyper-infectious Omicron variant will end the pandemic by infecting more or less everyone who isn't already vaccinated and killing a substantial number of them. I'm not going to say any more on that. Facebook's metaverse eats absolute shit. What do you mean? Early quarterly reports on virtual reality sales and usage are either bad or heavily massaged. Then the company redefines what it means by metaverse in the same way it kept retreating on Libra. Hundreds of millions of dollars are wasted. In retrospect, everyone agrees that the idea of a social network you have to put on goggles to use was extremely stupid all along. Wrong. Incorrect. Facebook's version of it may not be good, but the overall, the idea, the goal of this is indisputable. This is going to happen. It's like what I say about blockchain. Blockchain technology is going to disrupt every single industry on the planet today, whether you like it or not, believe it or not, understand it or not. Your opinion is irrelevant. It's going to happen. We're still early enough where you can decide where you fit in on this. Are you going to profit from it? Or are you going to wait till your business, your company, or your job drops on your head? You think people who go to the Laker game or the Clippers game or the LA Kings hockey team, or they're coming to the Olympics when it comes to LA, do you think that they had a choice on the Staples Center changing its name from Staples Center to Crypto.com Arena? Are they going to be forced now that every time they go down there to LA Live, you see Crypto.com Arena? You didn't have a choice on that. And you're going to see that in every aspect of life. You don't have a choice. Same thing here. This is going to happen. It's just a matter of what agency or what company is going to be the best at rolling it out. And Facebook, at least they're trying. I don't trust Facebook, period. I don't trust them with Libra. I don't trust them with Metaverse. I don't trust Mark Zuckerberg. But the technology and the idea behind it is sound. And it is going to take over society one way or another. It's going to happen. All right. That is it for our crypto talk for today. The very first crypto talk. I went long. I went an hour and a half. I've got, I will hop on I'm going to hop on the WCL IMC presentation in 30 minutes for the first one of the year. And then I will be back tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Before I was Bitcoin Brandon, I was the mindset business coach for years. That is my passion. That is my skill set. And I'm going to talk about the secret the aha moment that changed my life. And I was thinking I was going to go back and listen to my previous recordings over the years. I'm not going to do that this time. I want to have a fresh mind because I'm older. I have more experiences. I'm in a different space in life. So I want to record from this space and my current mindset, and then I'll compare them later. But understand that the information that I'm going to share tonight is not my information. It's not mine. I didn't create it. It is like the theory of gravity. You know, gravity is a law. And it has been a law from the beginning, and it'll be a law at the end. It is never going away. Over the years, you just have different people educating people on what gravity is in their own words. But the science behind it is a law. You can't change it. The secret is a law. It's a law of the universe that your opinion of it doesn't matter. Whether you're aware of it or not doesn't matter. It exists. And you are every single one of us is implementing the secret in our lives right now. We do have control, though, on how we utilize it. We have control over that. It's just 90% of people are unaware that it's even there. And when I figured it out and had my aha moment, and then I began to apply it, there's a difference between knowledge and application. And once I began to apply it in my life has never been the same. I retired at the age of 36, almost 10 years. It'll be 10 years this summer. I haven't had a job since. I had freedom for 10 years. No boss telling me what to do. Come and go as I please. That is worth more than money in your bank. That is worth more. So, well, bro, I make $400,000 a year on my job. I got plenty of money. Yeah, but every 9 to 5, every day, Monday through Friday, I know where you're at. You don't know where I'm at. I could be anywhere I want. It's the difference between money and freedom. All right, guys, that is it. Crypto Talk. I hope you learned something new. Sometime in the next couple of days, I will do how $1,000 can change your life, part 3. But I'm going to do it by doing 3 examples using this chart. We're going to start with 100. Then we're going to do 10,000. I'm sorry, the 1,000. Then we're going to do 10,000. I'm going to do it again, part 3 next week. So that I hit every income level. Those at the $100 level, those at the $1,000 level, those at 10,000 and beyond. All right. I hope you guys love that. Thank you for listening in for the very first broadcast of 2021. Bitcoin Brandon here. We've got big things happening. This is the month where I'm launching my new brand. I was going to announce the name of the company tonight, but I'm not. What I will only focus on talking about right now will be our 5-day challenge that's going to be coming up in the crypto space. 5-day challenge is happening in the next couple of weeks. I'll have a date set for that in the next couple of days. I got to get with my marketing team, and we're going to pop that off. We're going to have a whole lot of fun this year. Notwithstanding any existential or outward things like COVID, and I want this COVID thing to end so we can get out there. I can do my Bitcoin boot camps, and it looks like we're going in reverse right now. We got to see if they're going to allow our kids to go back to school this week. Already some colleges are going back to online learning, at least for the first week or two. So we got to see. Stay safe and continue to accumulate. Bitcoin Brandon out. Bye-bye.